Okay. Now you are going to be see the work which is done by the each layer, as you are going to be say that totally 7 layers are there. The first layer is the physical layer, it is the bottom layer. What are the responsibilities are going to be assigned to this particular the physical layer? Physical layer is responsible for movement of individual bits from one node to the another node. Okay, so it is its responsibility that the bits which are presented in the message which is received from the upper layer, so these bits has to be converted into the particular signals and make them to propagate. Now representation of the bits, so it is the job that the physical layer defines the type of encoding methods, how these particular bits are changed into the signals. There are different methods are there for converting the bits into the signals, that is either it may be the NRZ, NRZI, Manchester, bipolar. These are the different methods are there through which the bits are converted into the signals and make them to propagate through the physical media. Next one is the transmission rate, that is the number of bits sent per second is also going to be defined by the physical layer. And next one is the line configuration, that is it is concerned with the connection of the devices to the media, whether your device is connected to the media or not, that is the line configuration. So this is the job which is done by the line configuration. Okay, when you are connecting to the network, it is going to showing an icon in your computer, what your computer is connected to the network, that icon is going to be showing over there, the line configuration. Next one is the transmission mode. It is going to define the direction of the transmission between the two devices, whether it is a half duplex or whether it is a full duplex. So here it is that is it only going to send the information, that is a half duplex, that is only one simplex channel is going to be used. If it is a duplex channel is going to be used, two simplex channels are there, that is in one channel you are going to send the information, in another channel you are going to receive the acknowledgement. So this is what you are going to be call it as the full duplex, whether the communication between the two devices half duplex or whether it is a full duplex. So related to half and full duplex, even we can discuss it in the lab also. Now this is the job done by the physical layer, that is responsible for movement of the bits from one node to the another, representation of the bits, transmission rate, number of bits sent per second, line configuration. Another one is a transmission mode. Now the responsibility of the data link layer. Now the data link layer is responsible for moving of the frames from one node to the next layer. Is it clear? Now who is responsible for creation of these particular frames? Data link layer is responsible for creation of these particular frames. Now the data link layer is receiving the information from its upper layer, that is a network layer. Now from the network layer it is going to receive the packet is created in the network layer, and that packet is encapsulated inside that a particular frame. That frame is going to be attached the header and a trailer. Header is going to be consisting the information of that who is a sender and who is the next immediate receiver. So the frame is going to be consisting the physical address of the sender and the physical address of the receiver, and other fields are also going to be presented on the header or trailer of these particular frames. We are going to be see it in the different frames. Now this is all about the framing. Next one, data link layer is responsible for the error control. It is having a mechanism to detect and retransmit the damaged or the lost frames. So the different error control or error detection mechanisms are there. So all these jobs is done at the data link layer, that whatever the frame is transmitted by the data link layer, so the frame which is received by the data link layer of the peer system, it is going to be check that the frame whether it is error free or not. So if it is a error, it is going to be detect it, if possible it is going to be correct it, otherwise that frame is discarded and requesting once again to retransmit the frame once again by the sender. So this is a error control mechanism to detect and retransmit the damaged or the lost frames. Another one is that it is also having a mechanism to identify the duplicate frames. Okay, now it is also responsible for the physical addressing. As I told already, in the header it is going to contain the physical address of the sender and the receiver of the frame. Okay, now the job done by the data link layer is creation of the frames, error control mechanism, and the next one is the identification of the duplicate frames, and the next one is a physical addressing. Okay, and the next one is that the job done by the network layer. Network layer is responsible for the delivery of the individual packets from source host to the destination host. each one packet is going to be consisting of an address. The header will be there, that address is going to be contain the IP address, that is call it as the internet protocol address. This address is unique throughout the network. Okay, so this is what you are going to be called as a logical address. So that is who is the sender and exactly who is the receiver. So sender IP address and the receiver IP address is going to be present on the header, and then network layer is also determine how packets are going to be routed from source to destination. It is going to define which is the route the packet has to be followed to reach the destination. Always it is finding the shortest route to forward the information. Now, control of congestion control is also the job of that particular the network layer, that is the traffic should not be a jam. Okay, so the main job of the network layer is responsible for creation of the particular packets, assigning the logical address, that is the IP address of the source and the destination, routing of these particular packets, choosing the right route and the shortest route to reach to the destination, and control of a congestion. So transport layer is going to first receive the data from the transport layer, and that data is going to be encapsulated inside that a particular packet, and then it is going to attach a header. So don't be confused between the packet and the frame. Packet is the one which is created by the network layer, assigns the logical address. Once the packet is received by the data link layer is creation of a frames. That packet is completely encapsulated inside the frame, and then it is going to be transmitted to the physical layer. Now the next job is of the transport layer. Transport layer is receiving the information from the above, that is a session layer. Now is responsible for the delivery of the message which is going to be transmitted from one process to the another process. So here it is the job of process to process communication. It is the job of the transport layer to deliver the message of one process to the another. So in this here we are having service point addressing is done by the transport layer. So transport layer header includes a type of address called as a service point address, or you are going to be called it as a port address. The port address is going to define that whom this particular message belongs to which process this particular message belongs to. So it is going to be contain the sender port address as well as the receiver port address. Sender port address is that the process which is running on the sender machine who has transmitted this particular message, and the receiver port number is going to be defined to whom this particular message belongs to on the receiver machine. And next one, it is also responsible for segmentation and the reassembly. If the message is a larger one, you cannot transfer the large message into the network because each network is having its own carrying capacity. So that's why what it is going to do is that a message is divided into the small transmittable segments. Each segment is going to be containing the sequence number, because when it reaches to its peer computer, so in the peer system, the transport layer present on the destination side, it is going to reassemble all these particular segments based on the sequence number. Once again, this complete whole large message is once again reassembled and transmitted to its upper layer. So this is the numbers are enable the transport layer to reassemble the messages currently upon arriving at the destination. So this is the job which is done by the transport layer. The next job is the next one layer which is presented is the session layer. So the session layer is above the transport layer. Session layer is responsible for the dialogue control and synchronization. So it is going to be decide how two process should communicate with each other, whether the communication should take in half duplex, whether the communication should take in the full duplex. So this is the job of this particular layer, that is for dialogue control and synchronization between the sender and the receiver. It allows the communication between the two processes to take place either in the half duplex or the full duplex mode. Session layer also allows the process to add checkpoints or the synchronization points to the stream of data. Why we need these synchronization or the checkpoints here? It is that you imagine that you are going to be transmitting the huge data of 500 pages. Already you have transmitted the 400 pages, and due to some reason if the transmission fails, okay, and once again you are going to retransmit that, you are not having any information that from where you have to start. Once again you have to start it from the first page. Instead of that, if you are going to put a checkpoints here, say for example, already you have received the 400 pages and the checkpoint is there up to the 400 pages. Now it is transmitting the 430th page. During the transmission, if the communication fails, if any particular problem occurs, it will not retransmit from the first page. It is going to verify the checkpoints up to that, how many number of pages it has transmitted. Say for example, if a 400 pages transmitted, that checkpoint is there, so it is going to be start retransmitting the pages from 401, not from the first page. So this is for you are going to using these particular checkpoints, or you call it as a synchronization points to the stream of the data. The next one layer is the presentation layer. The presentation layer is responsible for doing three types of the jobs. One is the translation, another one is the compression, and next one is the encryption. What do you mean by the translation? So the presentation layer at the sender changes the information from its sender dependent format into the common format. Okay, so the receiver and the sender format may be different. So what you have to do is that sender is going to change the information into the one common format, the common format which is followed through the network to transfer the information. And once it reaches the destination side, so receiver dependent format, once again it is going to be converted. Okay, so this is what you are going to call it as a translation. So now the presentation layer at the receiving machine changes the common format into the receiver dependent format. Okay, now next one, what do you mean by the encryption? The sender transforms the original information into the another form and sends the resultant messages out over the network. This is what you are going to be call it as a encryption, converting it into the format that others should not be airdrop into the information. For the protection purpose, you are going to do the encryption of the information. Now to reduce the size of the data which you wanted to transfer, so that's why you are going to using the compression. So compression reduces the number of bits contained in the information. So presentation layer is receiving the information from the application layer. It is going to do three jobs: translation, encryption, and the compression. Attach the header after the compressing the data. Then this one will be sent to the session layer. Session layer is going to do all its job and send the information to the presentation layer, and session layer will send the information to the transport layer. Now the transport layer is going to if it is a larger, it will go for the segmentation and all, and then it is going to attach the header. Then it will be sent to the network layer, from network to the data link layer, data link layer to the physical layer. Okay, so now this is the last layer. This is the application layer, is responsible for providing the services to the users. So in the application layer, different types of the user applications are going to be running. So they are going to be generating the data which is generated by this application programs, it is going to be transmitted to the presentation layer. So this is all the summary of the layers. Application layer to allow access to the network resources, presentation layer doing the three jobs, and the session layer that is responsible for the synchronization and dialogue control. Okay, transport layer provide a reliable process to process a message delivery. Okay, and the next one is the network layer is responsible for creation of the packets, routing, and assigning the logical address. Data link layer is responsible for creation of the frames and provide a hope to hope delivery, and it is responsible for error detection, error control mechanisms and all. Physical layer is responsible for transmission of the bits, line configuration, and encoding. Okay, so this is all about the ISO OSI model.